Everybody, I'm going to make a cake, and this cake is something that I used to make when my kids were small, and I made it quite often. And just a few months ago I asked them if they remembered this cake, and they don't. They said I'd never made it, and I made it all the time, and it's such a good cake I wanted to share it with you. I got it out of, let me get the book open right, out of an old home economics book. And this was a series. I don't know how many they did, but how many books there were. I know I have 3 of them. And in this bowl I've already got a stick of butter. And I'm sure that years ago when I made this, I used margarine because I just didn't use butter back then very often. So you can use either one, a stick of margarine or a stick of butter. Got a stick of butter in there. This is a 1-pound box of light brown sugar. And I'm going to mix these two together until they're creamy. And you don't have to, I'll bring you back when I get done with it, okay? Alright, we've pretty much got that creamed. And just for your information, a pound of light brown sugar would equal 2 cups. If you buy it in the big bags, which I usually do, but I went to the grocery store today and I just, because all I had was dark brown, and I was going to go ahead and make it with a dark brown sugar, but I decided I would do it right for you all. Very simple cake, but it's very delicious. And the name of this cake, and I think that's what made me try it, the very first time I made it, is called Archie Hilda's Brown Sugar Cake. Alright, so we got this creamed, and the next thing that goes in it is 3 eggs, and you alternate these eggs with 2 cups of self-rising flour. So I'm gonna, since there's 3 eggs and 2 cups of flour, I'm going to put in 1 egg. And I'm going to put in the whole cup of flour as soon as that mixes in. Then I'll put in the 2nd egg and another whole cup of flour. And then the 3rd egg. And then we'll move on from there. So we'll be back when I get to that stage. Alright, we're back. I've got my 2 cups of flour in there and 2 eggs. And I'm about to put in the last egg. Alright, I had to do a battery change in the middle of that. Okay, I've got all 3 of my eggs in here. And you can see how creamy this is already. Very simple cake to make, but very delicious. I think you're all going to like it. Now there's only 2 things left. This is a teaspoon of vanilla. And this is a cup of chopped nuts. I chose to use walnuts this time because I use pecans so much. Let that get incorporated. I think I'm going to turn this up a hair. Alright. Now I'm just going to pour these nuts in. That's 1 cup of chopped walnuts, but you can use any type of nut you want to use. I just chose to use walnuts this time. Now, if you'll notice, I didn't tell you all to preheat your oven because this particular cake goes into a cold oven. And it also goes into a 9x13 pan instead of a bundt pan or cake rounds or any of that. It's going to go into a 9x13, and you do grease that pan. I used Crisco instead of one of the sprays, or butter. But all we're going to do is pour this in to the greased 9x13 pan, and I'm going to put it into a cold oven on the middle rack, and I'm going to bake it for an hour at 300 degrees. So when you put it in the oven, you start your timer right then, even though the oven is cold. Start your timer and bake it an hour. And then when you take it out, do not cut it until it's totally cold. And we'll be back when we get to that point. I brought you back for a minute because I wanted you to see just how thick this batter is. It's a very heavy batter. So don't even think about adding milk or anything to thin it out, because this is why you bake it an hour. It's a very thick batter, but I'm telling you, it's delicious. Dark brown sugar is my favorite, and I was so tempted to just go ahead and make it with the dark brown sugar, but I thought, well, I'm just going to make it like I used to, and because I know how good that is, and some people might not like that. You know, the difference in light and dark brown sugar is just the amount of molasses that goes into it, into the sugar. And you might not like a heavier molasses taste. Alright, I'm going to put this into my cold oven. Turn the oven on to 300 and the timer to 1 hour. Well, our little brown sugar cake is done. I've let it cool. It's just ever so slightly warm on the bottom. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. And I'm going to cut a slice of it. Now the idea is when you put it in a cold oven, it makes it crunchy. So you're going to hear, I think, you can see the top is crunchy. And it did take the full hour. I'll get a little piece out of here. No, I didn't cut that all the way through. Hold on. First piece is always the hardest. Try to make it pretty, but it just isn't going to be. I'm sorry. The thing about this is that the top is crunchy, so it cracks. But if you can see the inside of this, let me see. I'm going to try to zoom in for you. Can you see that? How beautiful that is. Just a beautiful inside. And we'll take a little bite out of it. Maybe I ought to get a soft side. This is so good. You have got to try this. As simple as it is, it's great, great tasting. I'd serve it to any company that I had, and proud to serve it to my family. Not hard to make, guys. A wonderful little dessert. Well, give me a thumbs up if you like it. And please subscribe if you haven't. Thank you for coming back in today and spending a little part of your day with me. So until next time, all of you, please take care.